Wow, that's how I start off my live. What is going on? Welcome to Vlogmas Day 5, and in today's video, I'll be getting ready. I'm gonna be putting a wig on my head, but I will also be talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is I suffer from panic attacks and I suffer from anxiety, and to make this easier on you guys, when you're watching this video, just select the speed. I think it's like the playback speed is like 1.5 or 1.75. So the video is gonna go a lot faster for you because I've noticed these lives tend to be pretty long when I upload them, and nobody really wants to sit there for 30 minutes and listen to somebody speak. So I found it that when I rewatch to just edit in case I said something inappropriate or insensitive, I do it at speed 1.75, 1.5, and you could still understand what I'm saying. It's actually sounds a lot better when you do it that way. So, hello, we have our first person joining live. What's up? What's up? You want to introduce yourself? Okay, he left. I'm gonna probably get better at these, I promise. But okay, so without further ado, let's do this. I actually tried to do this. 5 minutes ago, and I started having anxiety attacks. So I had to pause the video, collect myself, and I don't know. Let's give it another take. So, what is panic and what is anxiety? So I feel like those two are just different stages, at least for me. So anxiety for me is just like feeling nervous or feeling, have you ever had a bad feeling? That's literally what it feels like. So you're kind of just nervous, you're just flustered, and you're okay, I have a feeling, but you don't really know what that feeling is. So that is anxiety. I guess when you're going to maybe take a test, or if you're getting confronted by your boyfriend or your girlfriend or a friend or something, that feeling, it's mild panic, but it's not full-blown panic attack. A panic attack is literally you can't breathe. You start to your face starts to get flushed, your heart starts to beat really fast, your limbs go really numb, you feel like you might faint, you feel like you might throw up, you feel like you might pee yourself, because anything can happen when you're having a panic attack. But the good thing is that none of those things are going to happen to you. It's just your body overreacting and trying to overprotect itself from a danger that's not actually happening. So for different people, it's going to be different triggers, right? For me, it was, for the longest time, I would get really, really anxious, so just really nervous when driving on the highway. And I wouldn't experience blurry vision or rapid heartbeat. I would just be really nervous. I was really afraid to go on the highway, and I was really afraid to go on big highways 80, 95, the turnpike, because I was afraid of tractor trailers. And with time, that actually ended up turning into a full-blown panic attack for me once. I was coming home from the dentist, and I got boxed in by 3 tractor trailers, and I wasn't able to get out. So one was in front of me, one was next to me, and one was behind me, and I was going 90 miles per hour in my shitty little Nissan Murano at the time. It was a 2003, it was so beat up, and the car was literally shaking, and I couldn't get in front of the guy. The guy wasn't speeding up in front of me, the guy wasn't backing off behind me, so full-blown panic attack. I had to get off at the nearest exit, and I was shaking, crying. I literally couldn't see. It was the worst experience of my life. So I actually ended up avoiding that highway for years. So that was my first thing, that was my first panic attack, because I've had anxiety prior to that, but it just elevated into a panic attack. So when it really started was then, and then it just continued. Sorry, if I keep looking down, I have a whole list down here that I want to talk to you guys about and just tell you. So when it started was, I started getting anxiety maybe in school when I had to do presentations. That's the easiest thing that I could tell you to relate to is presentations, or when your dad or mom calls you and you're getting ready after school to go out with your friends, and they're like, oh, you have to come home, we have to talk to you about something, but they won't talk to you about that thing over the phone. So they're literally making you really nervous, but you're not having a panic attack yet. Or maybe you are. Everybody's different. But for me, that's when it started happening. So it's whenever I had to do a big presentation, I would literally start freaking out. When my mom would call me and be like, come home, we need to talk. Dude, I would literally start I didn't get a panic attack, but my best friend at the time would be like, oh my God, I have such a bad feeling. I have such a bad feeling. And we'd always say that to each other. We have such a bad feeling. We have such a bad feeling. We had anxiety because our parents found something that they shouldn't have found in our bedrooms. You know, so obviously you're going to get nervous because it's like, what did they find? A lot of the times it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't also that good. So that's when it really started for me. And so my parents and my school, so they would cause me anxiety. I wouldn't really get panic attacks. And my panic attacks really started, I guess, two happened when I was driving. And then it started happening when I had to go and meet with my modeling agency. Now, I never had anxiety going into, you know, meeting my agents or anything like that. But it just started happening so randomly. And it didn't really start happening for me that bad until coronavirus. So maybe it was because I was so used to being at home and not really doing anything and not really seeing anybody that much except for my immediate family and my boyfriend and my roommate. So I don't know, maybe that definitely escalated it, but it was to the point that it's like, I've known these people for 4 years. And recently, actually, I went into the office and I remember I was sitting on the couch and I was just like, I can't breathe. My vision's blurry. My limbs are going numb. Oh my God, my heart is pounding. If I stand up, I might fall. Like, it was terrible. So I had a bottle of water with me and I just kept drinking my water. And it was so bad to the point that I literally almost walked out and I was like, I can't do that. Like, I came all the way down to Miami to see them, to say hi to them. And I wasn't like afraid or anything. It just happened so randomly. And I don't know what really triggered that. And then I remember another time I was going to see my agency in New York. And the same thing happened. And I don't know, I don't understand why. So I started looking into it and it's just like, you think that you're in danger and it could be in confined spaces. It could be large groups of people, which would make sense because when I would have to give presentations in school, I would get really anxious. So maybe that just elevated. It's like, you know, I walk in and there's 7 agents sitting there and you have to like go in, say hi and like tell them what you've been up to, even though you're not like presenting rocket science to them. It's still like nerve wracking. Like 7 people are looking at you or 8 people are looking at you and you have to like, you know, talk to them. So it's very nerve wracking. And I've actually asked other models if they experienced that as well. And a lot of them said that they have. So, you know, it was just more comforting knowing that I'm not alone, but I just don't like the way it feels, right? So anyway, so for me, anxiety literally turned into full-blown panic attacks. Another time that I actually had a full-blown panic attack was in July when I was doing Miami Swim Week and I booked 2 shows. It was for Mary Playa and My Happy. So the brands are pretty big. And dude, when I tell you, before I walked down the runway, I couldn't stop shaking. My armpits were sweating. My heart was pounding. My mouth got dry. My knees felt so weak to the point that I literally thought that I'm gonna trip and fall on that runway. And maybe it was, I don't know why I had that feeling. I feel like maybe because my boyfriend was in the audience, so I was like kind of really nervous. But so that was like another time. And I've walked numerous shows before. Like I've walked Dolce & Gabbana. I've walked for lingerie brands, for not La Perla, for, oh my God, wait 1 second. What lingerie? I'm really bad at this. I did like New York Fashion Week. I did Laquan Smith. I did Mary, obviously. Sorry, there's like a little clip in the back that I have to get. Lanera, that's the lingerie brand. So I did Lanera. It's a Colombian lingerie brand where you're literally out and about in like see-through panties. So I don't know how I didn't have anxiety doing that. And so I just literally froze. And there was like girls behind me online and they were just like, you're gonna be fine. Like everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. They were so freaking nice to me. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would have been able to like do the show, you know? So same thing, like once I walked into my agency and everybody was like, hi, how are you? Oh my God, tell us what's up. Like everything went away. But just going into the meeting and going into like walking the show, my panic attack was terrible. And maybe I kind of feel like I almost gave myself the panic attack because I was thinking like, oh my God, is it gonna be like the last time? Is it gonna be like the last time? So yeah, so my anxiety eventually turned into panic attacks, and it really did get worse over COVID. I don't know if it was because of all the social distancing that we've been doing. I've been told by other girls that yes, they're experiencing the same thing. And so why is it happening? So obviously there's things that could have happened in your life that could have triggered this. Like for me, I almost got kidnapped. I literally almost got kidnapped in Miami right at the beginning of the pandemic. I was walking around my neighborhood, which is pretty safe. I lived in Midtown Miami at the time, and I went for a walk and I was on the phone with one of my best friends, and it was like 8 o'clock. So it wasn't late, but it wasn't like super early. And I was on the phone with her and I was walking around North Miami Avenue, and I was just like doing like a big circle around Midtown because I wanted to get some exercise in. And, you know, just like talk to my friend while she's, you know, while she's on the phone, like cool, like I get to work out and stuff. So I'm on the phone with her and I got followed by a van. And I didn't hear that because I had my freaking headphones in. So I'm walking, and I made a left by a PetSmart going back to my apartment. And the van, I noticed that I was like, I turned around and I saw the van, I was like, what the fuck? And then so he was just like going and he passed me, right? And then he stops. And I was like, all right, I was like, girl, something fucking sketchy is going on. If I run straight, they're gonna, like, that's not good. So I dropped my flip-flops and I just like, I'm like standing like literally like this, like a freaking deer in headlights, like not knowing what I'm about to do. And so a dude just fucking jumps out with a mask on his fucking face. And I was like, all right. I just fucking dropped everything. I'm sprinting. I'm like literally freaking out at that point, having like a mini mental breakdown. And so my best friend's like, yo, what the fuck's going on? Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm just like, call the fucking cops, call the cops. I'm on this and this street just in case. And I fucking just sprinted. And so she's like, what the fuck? And she's still on the phone with me. And she had my location, thank God. But I don't think that would have helped if they dragged me into a van. So I'm trying to run back to my apartment, and I'm like, fuck, maybe I can just jump into a store. All the stores are closed. It's COVID. Everything's closed. This is literally like right at the height of the pandemic when they closed everything. So whatever. So, you know, so I'm like, I'm sprinting. There's nobody outside because everybody's like inside with their families and their animals. Like no one's even freaking walking their dog at that point. So I turn around to see if I have enough room to run away from the van, and he couldn't freaking go down the street because there was these like big things that you might see in front of Target, like made out of cement. So I just ran to my block. I sat down like in front of my building, hyperventilating, fucking crying my eyes out. And I just see the motherfucking van going up and down the goddamn street, like looking for me. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I get back to my apartment, talk to my roommate, whatever. We called the cops, we informed them. And the street that I was walking down conveniently did not. Can I teach you something? Yes, of course. Go ahead. Welcome. I'm just telling everybody what caused my anxiety and how I almost got kidnapped in Miami. So you came in at the perfect time for story time. But whatever, so we ended up calling the cops, and conveniently that street didn't have a camera on it, so they couldn't identify who the person was. The van did not have a license plate, and everybody, like the two guys, because there was two guys in there, the one guy was wearing a mask, so I couldn't even tell you like who he was. So that definitely traumatized me, and that's really when my panic attacks started to get really severe. So my PTSD, and until today, like I couldn't go into New York City by myself. I couldn't go into like, you know, castings or jobs or anything. Like I had to have my boyfriend drop me off because I was just so panically afraid. And shit, I don't know what you said. It's a trend. Wait, what would you say? It's a traditional drink. What's a traditional drink in Hungary? Oh, I don't really drink. It's not good for my anxiety. But yeah, so that's one of the things that really triggered my panic attacks to get really, really bad. It was getting kidnapped. Also modeling. This is kind of really Palinka. I never heard of that. I'm sorry. We actually powiedzą in Poland. But so modeling, right? Everybody thinks that modeling is this glamorous job, blah, blah, blah. And it is. I'm very thankful for it. Thank you. I will. I'm very glad and thankful for it. I've been in the industry since I was 14, but it's something that I've noticed that a lot of models struggle with anxiety and panic attacks. And some models that were really like recently upfront about it were Bella Hadid and Kendall Jenner. Now, same thing kind of started happening to me, but for me, I noticed a pattern. When I get under like 130 pounds, now mind you, I'm 5'9.5", so I'm like pretty freaking tall. That's when I started to notice my anxiety heightened and my panic attacks became more severe. So when these girls started talking about anxiety and stuff, and I understand like they're in very stressful situations, but I also feel like they're malnourished. Like, I personally don't think that if you are 5'10" or 5'11" and you weigh 120 pounds, that is a healthy weight for a female. There are some girls, I'm not a doctor, this is just my personal opinion. There are some girls that are naturally that thin, but judging by Bella Hadid and Kendall Jenner's body frame, those girls, I don't think that they're meant for that. Maybe Kendall more than Bella, but we've seen Bella before, and she was a pretty, very healthy human being before modeling. Not that she's not beautiful now, I think she's stunning, but I do think that the way she achieves her body is just not healthy. And I'll tell you why, because I've done it. Like, I weighed 120 pounds. And I have a very thin frame, like you can tell by my arms and like the rest of my body. If you check out my Instagram, you get a more feel for like what I naturally look like. So it's at Miss Leanna Sky if you're interested. To achieve the model look, I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, drank 2 coffees a day. This is when my morning started out. Like, so I would drink water and I would literally have a black coffee, no cream, no sugar. I would have a protein shake, then I would have 2 eggs for lunch with string beans and a mayo packet, and then I would have a little bit of ground turkey with like a green vegetable, whether it was spinach or broccoli, and that's literally all I had all day for maybe 2 weeks. And I went from 135 pounds to 120 pounds. And I was so unhealthy. I was still working out and I was so freakishly thin. And that's when I started working. That's when I was like requested by clients. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is great. But guess what? I started to get so much anxiety and like panic attacks that I didn't understand. I was like, I don't get it. I don't fucking understand. And then a few months went by, I gained the weight back and I felt better. And then I lost the weight again and I felt like shit. And so I really do think that your weight does matter with how severe your anxiety or your panic attacks may be. I am not a doctor. This is just what I personally experienced. And I definitely think that models do experience a lot of anxiety because they're fucking malnourished. Like, if you don't eat and if you lack nutrition and vitamins and freaking like basic human needs, your body's gonna fucking freak out. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? You're gonna be like la-di-da-di-da, so happy. On top of that, these girls do a lot of pills like Adderall. Some revert to other, uppers, and a lot of drink alcohol. So, those are all things that cause anxiety and depression and panic attacks. So definitely modeling, I think, like heightened it for me, just to like having the pressure of being so thin. And then I finally realized, like, I'm never gonna be a runway model. I'm not skinny enough and I'm not tall enough. So why am I trying to be something that I'm not, So I embraced my body as it is, and I'm like, you know what, fuck it. If you're gonna book me, you're gonna book me because you like the way I look and the way I fit into your clothes. If you don't, there's probably gonna be another girl that is gonna fulfill my job, but like I'm not gonna sacrifice my mental health for a job. Like, I don't agree with that at all. And also in my earlier days, I was constantly told by the industry that I was too fat when I was literally a toothpick, that I needed to get a nose job. So now imagine you're walking into all these agencies and they're like, oh, you're too big. You're not skinny enough. You need to get a boob job. You need to get a nose job. You need to get a boob reduction. You need to break your fucking ribs. Like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, really, what the hell? That's so messed up. And that definitely messes up your psyche as like a young adult, like I've been in the industry since I was 14. So it's a pretty long time. So just being judged by everyone, and I'm assuming that like by being, walking in and just like shit, like being so nervous what this agent is gonna say, what is this agent gonna say about me, my look today, you get anxiety and then you overthink it, and then the next time you go into another agency or another meeting or another client, like that is just gonna escalate and you're just gonna develop panic attacks, because that's literally what started happening to me, just being whatever. And I I love modeling. I love, being in front of the camera, and I love, taking photos and doing my makeup and being creative. And the second that I started being so crazily obsessive about that, like I need to fit this mold, when I decided to just be myself, a lot more things started happening for me. Like when I started embracing that I'm skinny curvy, like I booked Maxim, I booked Playboy and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool. So, there's a space for everybody. So not stressing about it too much, I think could definitely, lessen maybe anxiety. For me, it's modeling. For other people, it could be getting into Yale or Harvard for law school, Also, that brings me to my next point. What is it? Parents putting too much pressure on you. Like, my parents wanted me to be a freaking lawyer. And that's what I had literally instilled in my brain for such a long time, that I always tried to please them, because I felt like if I go down the route of modeling and I don't become a lawyer like my parents wanted me to be, I'm letting them down and I'm going to be judged. And then my whole family actually expected that of me. And it was just so much pressure. So sometimes your parents can create the pressure on you, and you're just trying to please them or please your parents, your clients, your friends, whoever it is. And that can seriously damage your freaking mental health, because you're just trying to make yourself happy, but at the same time, you're trying to make other people happy. So it's just too much going on. It's like you're suffocated, So that definitely led to so that's why it was happening for me. So it was definitely getting almost kidnapped, modeling, like too much pressure in that area. My parents' expectations, pleasing other people, not myself. Sometimes like I get anxiety when I go live. Like I literally had to redo this whole live because I started having a panic attack. Like I'm so nervous to talk to people in front of the camera. But like, I guess once I'm like, I suffer from this, I have a panic attack and I have anxiety, then it goes away. Because maybe it's like my way of like informing people that it's just what I'm struggling with. So instead of me being like, oh my God, they're gonna know, just tell them. Be like, I'm a nervous wreck, and they're probably gonna be like, you know what, that happens to me too. Like, I'm so afraid that people are just gonna like judge me, and maybe because I've been judged my whole entire life. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But also social freaking media. It doesn't really happen to me, but I noticed that it does happen a lot with other girls. Like I have a friend personally that, if you see me off camera, I'm just grabbing my makeup. I have a friend personally that she literally would like get really upset because she's like, oh my God, this girl is so perfect. She has no wrinkles. She has no freaking, fat cells or nothing. And it's like, bitch, it's all fucking Photoshop and Botox. Like, relax first. Like, no. And there's a lot of girls that look up to other girls that are Photoshopped and, perfectly made by plastic surgeons. So it's like unrealistic expectations that these girls are putting out on the internet, and guys sometimes, like people will literally lie about what house they have, where they live, and this and that, just to make themselves feel better. But at the same time, they're making other people worse, and they are in the same situation that person is in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, basically they're broke, they're trying to flaunt that they're rich to make themselves feel better, because they're making you feel bad and having a one-up on you. And I feel like that's so fucked up. It's like, who the hell does that? But I see that happening a lot. And I'm just like, all right, well, a lot of Instagram girls, for example, you're verified, you have 100,000 followers, but you're broke. And you're living, at home, or, well, I'm living at home too, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they're painting out this like lavish lifestyle, but they don't actually live it. So I feel like that definitely causes a lot of anxiety and panic for other people, because they're like, well, if she's doing this, why can't I do this? If she's in this place right now, why can't I do that? Like, and it just makes you, it's just like a domino effect, and it just makes you like freak out, which you shouldn't. Everybody is beautiful. Everybody can do what they put their minds to, and everybody just works at different pace. Like, I literally didn't live at my parents' house for the longest time, and after the pandemic, I'm like, I fucking miss home. Like, I want to come home for a little bit. And now it's like I'm moving out in January, and I'm so upset. I'm like, I don't know, I don't want to move out again. It's nice to see them every day, but so who can this happen to? It can fucking happen to anybody. Like, it can happen to the prettiest, most gorgeous, perfect girl or guy, or it can happen to a regular person. It probably happens to freaking Barack Obama, okay? So, and Michelle Obama and Beyonce. Like, you know, if it happens to girls like Kendall and Gigi and Bella, I'm sure, you know, like it happens to fucking everybody. It does, anxiety doesn't like play favorites. It fucking hits randomly, you know? I love how like my wig is half exposed on the internet. But so anyway, so some of the things that have helped me personally is breathing exercises. And I was never a freaking fan of yoga. I literally used to, I would be like, what's the point of this? Why am I doing an upside down dog or whatever, downward dog? It doesn't like make me feel good at all. So that actually helps because it's a breathing technique and it kind of teaches you how to slow down your heart rate. Wait, let me just do my mascara real quick. And I'll do it in the big mirror. So yeah, definitely doing yoga or breathing exercises. That definitely helps me. Food is another important factor. So avoid coffee. I'm a fucking coffee fanatic. I would never give up coffee in my life. When people would be like, what would you ever give up? And I'd be like, never coffee. I'm giving up coffee because when I have the coffee in the morning, I literally had like a little bit like symptoms of like a panic attack or anxiety this morning because I had coffee on an empty stomach. Coffee, cigarettes. I gave up smoking cigarettes, which I also didn't think I would ever do. Juuling, another thing. Like I'll still hit my Juul here and there, but I'm very happy that I gave up smoking. And I feel like part of the anxiety that was coming from me smoking cigarettes was I was so afraid of getting lung cancer, and it doesn't run in my family, but the cancer does run in my family. So that was just something that I gave up, and I was like, you know what? I feel a lot less fucking anxious about that. Drugs in general. So when I was studying for my LSAT, I was taking Adderall, and I was prescribed it, and it did help. I definitely have ADD and ADHD, but I feel like I don't want to suppress it. I don't want to take fucking drugs to suppress what God gave me because my ADD and ADHD literally is my creativity. It's like I'll start to think about this and I'll jump to this, and that's literally how I came up with my clothing company and my YouTube channel and my Instagram and me fucking day trading. Like that is so left. Like I'm a fucking influencer and I'm day trading. Like who, why, where, why? Okay, so definitely I think not taking Adderall. When I would take Adderall, I started to notice after prolonged uses of it, it definitely caused my anxiety to heighten and my panic attacks to heighten. And you know, I definitely know that I needed it because obviously like prescription, blah, blah, blah. And I was able to sleep after it and I was a lot more calm and put together. But there come side effects with it. And people that I guess are prone to anxiety and panic attacks, you should probably not be taking Adderall. And I'm not a doctor, that's just my opinion. I have read it on Google and my doctor did tell me that, you know, it could definitely worsen my anxiety. And that's when I stopped taking it. And I feel like I don't want to blame drugs for it, like Adderall, but I feel like it changes your brain chemistry. You know what I'm saying? So it's like once your brain chemistry is changed, it's really hard to like get it back to its natural state. So I feel like that could have been a reason why I'm a lot more anxiety ridden. And it's like I was literally taking Adderall to study. I was taking it for a good freaking like cause. And I feel like it definitely fucked me up. So definitely don't do that. Alcohol, another thing. I used to go out quite a bit, but I noticed that whenever I would wake up in the morning, I would be very like, I wasn't hungover, I was anxiety ridden. Like I would wake up in like a panic and I would just never understand it. Like my heart was racing, like my vision would get blurry and I was like, what the fuck? So I stopped drinking overall, like no more wine nights with my friends. Like me and my mom sometimes would have a glass of wine. Like I don't even do that. I literally just drink Fuji water or Evian water, you know, water for the rich people. I try to make myself feel better by drinking expensive fucking water. But so yeah, also sleeping. I'm still working on that. I normally go to bed at like 2 a.m. That is so bad, and I wake up at like 8. So I get like 6 hours of sleep, but I notice that when I do go to bed at 10 and I wake up at like 6 or 5:30 in the morning, I know it's super fucking drastic, but it just makes my day better and I'm a lot less stressed, which stress leads to anxiety. It's all like hormonal also. That's another thing. Working out definitely freaking helped. I haven't been working out for the past 2 weeks because I got my wisdom tooth out, so I do not want to, you know, get a dry socket. So like today I just went for a light walk. And positive distractions, you know, like for me, a positive distraction would be YouTube, right? So it just consumes my time, and like I'm editing videos, coming up with creative ideas for you guys, even like doing topics that are so close to my heart, like talking about my personal struggles, like anxiety or panic disorders. I feel like I'm sharing it to help somebody, you know, so it's a positive distraction because I'm like, I can, you know, give back to somebody and I can help them, even like stuff like that. Or, you know, going for a walk, shopping. Hello. Like I'm always distracted when I go shopping. Like I'm like in a completely different world. Calling a friend, calling a family member, you know, playing with my wigs. Like I literally got wigs because they're so time consuming to do, like to pluck all these hairlines and like cut them right and style them. Like that takes my anxiety away. Doing my makeup, like that's another thing. So just finding positive things that aren't gonna harm you, you know? So yeah, those are things that you can use to like cope with it. And everybody is different. For everybody, you know, everybody has different traumas, everybody has a different life. So what causes a panic attack for me or anxiety for me may not cause it for somebody else. And you know, for years I would just have like little bursts of anxiety and I never had a fucking panic attack. And all of a sudden, like I'm getting panic attacks. And I think that maybe that was the point where I'm just like, all right, I have to change things, you know, so quit smoking, stop eating junk food. Dude, the food that I would eat, and it's like, I'm still kind of struggling with that, but like, I literally fucking eat McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, pizzas, all the American, like, standard diet foods that are so unhealthy for you. And it's like, sure, I don't gain weight from it, but that's not good for you. There's so many chemicals in there, MSGs, GMOs. Like, what the fuck do you think that does to your body? You know, like, your body's not getting real nutrition from it, so obviously it's gonna start freaking out. So yeah, so like, you know, definitely changing your diet and stuff like that. And I would eat like shit when I was younger, so I would just get bursts of anxiety, right? So all these things I think just like built up, and it was just like the straw snapped. It was like enough is enough, you know, like you have to do something about it. You have to you know, take care of your health. And for some girls for some girls and guys, it happens at a much younger age. For me, maybe it took me almost getting kidnapped to start getting severe panic attacks. And you know, just my interactions with people. Like even the other fucking day I ran into my friend from high school at Sephora, and I was like, I got a panic attack when I was talking to her. And it's like, I feel so bad because I don't know, like if you're watching this, like if I was awkward, you know why. But it's just like now just social interactions with people are very hard for me, maybe because of that, maybe because like I was just very selective who I was hanging out with after the whole incident. So I feel like anytime like somebody looks at me, I'm just like, oh my god, like he's trying to take me, or she's planning on like sex trafficking me, you know. So it's like I only keep in touch with like a few of my very close friends that I like trust. And another thing I guess I forgot to tell you is like, I think, I'm not 100% sure, is I may have been drugged by one of my close friends. So that was another like hard thing for me. Like I ended up going out and I only had 2 drinks, and I was with my boyfriend at the time, and I literally grabbed him and I was like, let's get the fuck out of here. This person's being so fucking weird. Like, let's just go, let's leave. Like, I can't be here. And then I blacked out. And I woke up in the morning and my boyfriend's like, what the fuck happened last night? And I was like, dude, I had 2 drinks and I blacked out. I don't know. And we were at like a place that we brought like a cabaret bar, or like, you know, like somewhere like 11 in Miami. So I don't want to point the blame at the person. Could have been a bartender, could have been anybody, could have been a stripper, could have been anyone, but it was just really awkward because the person kept on like pushing drinks for me and my boyfriend, and I drank the drink. My boyfriend didn't do really ability, and like I confronted the person and he literally hung up the phone on me and fucking blocked me. So I was just like, all right, like this is fucking sketch, you know. So that's why I suspect it. I'm not 100% sure. You know, so it makes it hard for me to like trust people. So for me, it's just that maybe that's why I'm like awkward with people, because I'm just like, well, what do you want? Like, you know, if you almost got kidnapped and your best friend fucking tries to drug you, or one of your friends tries to drug you, that's a lot to handle. So I hope that this video, you know, you guys find it interesting and helpful. I just wanted to share my experience, and thank you so much to those that tuned in. And yes, this is a little bit long, but you know, just watch it at speed. I'm telling you this at the end of the video. Watch it at speed 1.75 and you'll be fine. And so yeah, this was my video for Vlogmas Day 7. I really hope that, I wonder what topic I should do tomorrow. I really kind of like going live a lot. Let me just do my eyelashes real quick. I'm actually gonna upload a video, I think maybe Saturday or Friday. I'm getting a new wig. I'm getting a red wig. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna be doing a video on that. But yeah, you guys, okay, well, this is getting really long, so I'm gonna finish getting ready and I will see you guys tomorrow. And thank you so much. Drop a comment down below if you wanna, you know, talk more about this. You can always DM me, please, at Miss Leanna Sky. That's my Instagram. I will do my best to answer all your DMs. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So bye.